Yes,
Do
but
it
that's
at
the
night
first
before you
thing I
go to
do
bed.
in the morning.
Mm.
But I'll just
Now,
change
if you
that
get up,
habit. I just
now
thought
see,
it didn't
because
make
see,
any
when you've
difference.
eaten all day, and you've been active, and your saliva, you've talked, and your muscles have been very active, your blood supply to your mouth and your tongue and the tissues of your mouth is very high all during the day because you're actively using these parts. But at night, you calm down. Your saliva pools. It kind of moves around in your mouth a little bit. You swallow. So, I forget the term there. There's another term. It's competitive snack foods. So, like crackers and cookies and candy bars, and this thing cannot be sold in schools or Coca-Colas.
That is really so good. I was amazed to find out.
Yeah, and this has been a major effort of the Dental Association.
Okay. Dr. Farrell, what about sugar? What about kids eating sugar, and what does it do to their teeth?
Sugar is probably one of the most detrimental foods that a human person can eat. Sugar is immediately broken down in the mouth by the bacteria to form acids which will attack the teeth and dissolve the enamel of the tooth and open up a way for the bacteria to get into the tooth to cause a serious cavity and loss of the tooth. Sugar is in so many different types of foods that we eat nowadays that it's almost impossible for a person to go on a sugar-free diet.
Have you ever seen a case where someone has been eating sugar and their teeth have maybe been progressively getting worse?
Oh, this is very true. I have a good friend of mine, a fellow professional, who stopped smoking, and in lieu of that, he started chewing sugary chewing gums. And, we had a horrible time for 2 or 3 years working with him until we said, listen, we've got to cut this out. So we found a substitute, a non-sugar chewing gum for it, and he's doing fine with that. And it's the constant use of this, or the repetitious use of it, that maintains a high acid level in the area of the tooth that creates the decay. And and many of the things that we see advertised on your programs, on your television station, and in our newspapers and other places are as something good are really not good. They're harmful, and they're bad for us as human beings to continually take them into our bodies.
What about cereals?
This has been a big problem because at the present time there is the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is getting ready to clamp down on television advertising that is directed toward children of sugary cereal foods, because it's been shown that these foods certainly are not nutritious at all for a child. They contain very little nutrition, and all they contain mostly is a high energy bundle of sugar that in many cases the majority by weight of the greater part of that cereal by weight is sugar rather than the wheat that's supposed to be in them.
Well, you say that sugar is bad for a person. Are you talking specifically as far as teeth are concerned, or do you mean the body too?
Well, for the whole body. Not only have we found that sugar is bad for the teeth, but we found that the high concentration or the large amount of sugar that we take into our bodies is really a cause of sugar-related metabolic diseases. For example, the buildup of cholesterol in the bloodstream, in the blood vessels, is caused by a high sugar intake. The diseases that we call diabetes is caused by high sugar intake. Heart diseases, other conditions, hypoglycemia, which is a sort of hidden disease, whereby people have headaches and dizziness and weakness at different levels during the day, is caused by, in part or largely, by a high intake of sugar in the diet. Now, most people don't realize how much sugar we take. The average consumption of sugar in this country today is more than 100 pounds per person per year. That's more than 2 pounds of sugar per person per week. Now, most people would say, well, now, can't possibly be true. We don't eat 8 pounds of sugar. We have 4 people in our family. We don't eat 8 pounds of sugar a week. But what we don't realize is that most every food that you can buy on your grocer's counter that is prepared and stored for future consumption contains a good amount of sugar. Ketchup, pickles, mayonnaise, go right down the line, and the sugar is in there.
You mean you just simply pick up a product in the grocery store and turn and check the ingredients, and you're going to find sugar high among many products?
You're going to find sugar high among the products. Many times they won't tell you how much refined carbohydrate is in the sugar, in the can, excuse me, but it will be there. What we don't also recognize is that there are other foods that we take in which in the past were nutritious. For example, bread used to be made of whole wheat and not highly refined. Now it's bleached, highly refined. It is a simple starch which in the body, by enzymes which are in the mouth, in the saliva, and in the digestive system can instantaneously convert that to a simple sugar, because the food is already processed and already half digested by the time we get it.
What about the aging process? Does sugar affect the aging process?
Well, this is pretty well established that it does, because of the effect that it has on the blood vessels. Of course, fat, the storage of fat in the blood vessels. We're kind of messing this up a little bit. Can you go back and ask that question again?
There's something else I wanted to ask you before that anyway.
All right.
Dr. Farrer, you said that sugar is bad for the body and bad for the teeth. Are you talking about sugar and like refined sugar? Are you talking about sugar we find in fruit or sugar that's in honey?
Well, yes. Well, that's true. Sugar and honey would do the same thing. The only because it's also a very simple sugar, and the sugar you find in fruit, that's true too. But the thing, of course, honey is a very simple sugar, substance, and it is nothing more nor less than a highly refined sugar product, which has already been refined by the bees. But it does contain other nutrients that are not found in table sugar and things of this sort.
Would honey and fruit be as bad for the teeth?
Well, fruit is not that bad, but the sugar in fruit is not that highly concentrated, and it is also put together in a combination of other substances. For example, fiber. The sugar that's in apples is made up for, in a sense, by the high concentration of more complex carbohydrates that are in there, which the body has to use energy to break them down, to get them into the sugar state. For example, if you take a lot of protein and some sugar at the same time, the body will utilize the sugar to help break down the protein.
The real culprit then is table sugar?
The real culprit is sugar, is table sugar, or any product that is a simple sugar, what we would call a simple sugar rather than a complex carbohydrate. Now you know that, for example, starch is a carbohydrate, but it is only one step away from sugar in the digestive process. And our body can take simple starches and convert them instantaneously into sugar. For example, in bread. In the olden days, bread was stone ground from whole wheat. It took the body quite a while to break this down. But now, by the time we buy this beautiful bread, which probably in Marie Antoinette's time would have been put down as cake, it's already digested halfway for us, because it's been refined and it's been bleached, and it is nothing more or less than a simple starch. Back in the old days, a man could be put to jail and get fed a diet of bread and water and could live to tell about it. But in nowadays, if a fellow was put in jail and put on a diet of bread and water, it would be like giving him a sentence to death, because the bread simply doesn't have the nutrient in it to sustain human life.
Dr. Farrer, if it's true that sugar is so bad for us, then why isn't the general public told more about it? Why aren't doctors telling their patients, don't eat so much sugar? I know they're telling diabetics that, but just in general.
Well, this is a good question. I think it probably points out some of the defects in the health care delivery system in our country. And it probably points out a fact about human nature that most of us personally are not willing to recognize. You know, they've done experiments with laboratory animals, and they would give the animal a choice to either eat a nutritious diet or to eat a non-nutritious sugar-filled diet. And the laboratory animal will generally always choose the non-nutritious laboratory diet. And of course, once he starts eating one or the other's taken away. And it's been demonstrated over and over again that these animals will continue to eat that diet even unto starvation and death, rather than eat the natural nutritious diet that is good for them. And that's true of human nature. Now, and people want to eat that which they enjoy eating. They want to drink that which they enjoy drinking, and they're going to do it.
Well, what should people eat as a substitute instead of all of the products?
It's a matter of education. It's a matter of education and recognizing what is good for our health. There are many substitutes, and it takes a little looking around in the grocery store to find wholesome, natural foods to eat. Of course, these include, the carbohydrate vegetables, and those vegetables which can